Hello, and welcome to another creative coding video. Today we're going to look at a really exciting new thing called repetition. It's really powerful and I've been looking forward to covering it for ages. We've been working through a number of videos now and we're slowly getting towards some really cool ideas, some really powerful methods. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to carry on almost where we left off last time, so it's probably worth looking back at the last video just to kind of refresh ourselves with what we were doing. I'm logged in as usual into Open Processing. I've set up the simple instruction there to get things ready for us to use. I've made sure that the simple library is enabled here. This is what we always do, and if you're going to need some help getting set up, go back to the first one or two videos where all that is explained. So last time we wrote a function actually which drew a button made out of two circles. So a very simple idea, just two circles, 1 and 2, and they were one was smaller than the other one, so there's a slightly larger outer circle and a slightly smaller inside circle, and two different colours, orange and yellow, and they were drawn at random places on the canvas. So that's what we did last time. We packaged our code up as a function because we wanted to draw the button several times. So let's just run it once here. We're calling our code by using its name, my button. There we go. And there's a button, two circles, orange and yellow, placed at a random point on the screen. And again somewhere else, and again somewhere else. So that's what we did last time, and we sort of challenged ourselves and said, well, what if we wanted to draw two buttons? If you remember, the wrong way, well, not the wrong way, but not a very elegant way, was we copied and pasted the code twice, all of that code, and that wasn't very efficient, and it's not very elegant in terms of keeping our code concise and minimal. It's a good rule of thumb not to repeat code if you can avoid it. So and that was one of the reasons why we created a function, because we can call our function twice in this very concise, neat, simple way. We can say my button and it runs all this code, my button and it runs all the code again. So that should draw two buttons. And then I think we had 4, didn't we, last time? Like this. Great. Now, what if we say, and let's go a little bit crazy now. Let's say we don't want 2 buttons. Let's say we don't want 4 buttons. Let's go wild and say we want 100 buttons. 100 buttons. How do we do that? Are we going to write out my button 100 times? Are we going to say, oh my god, it'll go on forever, wouldn't it? That's not going to be very that's not going to be very neat and elegant either, is it? So yes, we improved our code by using a function, and it's very easy to call that function twice, 3 times, 4 times. That's okay. But writing my button 100 times, that's surely not the right way to do it. And luckily, there is a better way to do it. Now, computers are really good at repeating things. They're fast and they don't get bored, and it's one of their strengths, and we take advantage of that when we write code to create interesting art or to write other kind of programs. And that means many languages, not just this one, will very likely have a way of repeating instructions many times, hundreds of times. So we're going to look at how we do it here. And the way we do it is we use a function, an instruction called repeat. So that's helpfully named. It tells us, it gives us a clue about what it does. So repeat is the instruction, and it takes 2 bits of information. The first one is a number that tells it how many times to repeat a function, which we tell it as well. So let's go through that again. The repeat instruction, this one will repeat my button. It'll call our function my button 100 times. That's so much neater than writing out my button 100 times. It's just one short line of code. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? If it works, that's pretty powerful. Let's give it a go. I'm holding my breath to see if it works. Go. Wow, that's 100 buttons. It's quite a lot. That's really nice. That's really powerful. You can see with that example, although the image itself isn't particularly, beautiful, you can see the power of this instruction. Being able to repeat a function, repeat code, many times, not 2 necessarily. There's no problem with repeating it 10 times, 100 times. Let's see and try it with 200. Let's go wild. Yep, there's lots and lots of circles there, lots of buttons, 200 buttons. So that's pretty cool. That's exciting actually to be able to see an instruction that can run code many times. The possibilities of that are immense, and we will cover some of those. You won't be surprised that many programs use this kind of idea of repeating code. It's taking advantage of the strengths of a computer. Now I'm just going to have a little play because it's fun. I'm going to make those circles smaller. Let's say 20 and 10. And yeah, because there's lots of them, let's make them smaller. See what effect that has. That's interesting. Yeah, it looks like we're looking at something through a microscope. Maybe we're looking at germs or something. It's rather cool. Let's increase that to 500. Let's go really crazy. Wow, that's a lot. Let's make them even smaller. 10 and 5. Yep, that actually looks quite interesting now. I like that. It really does look like we're looking at something through a microscope. That's rather cool. I'm going to try one more thing, which is to remove the black outline around those circles. So the instruction for doing that is no stroke. If you wanted an empty circle, it's no fill, which means it's not filled with a colour. Let's just see the effect that has. Cool. Change the colour. Let's say purple. So you can have a lot of fun with this, can't you? Yeah, so there isn't a lot more to say actually, because this repeat instruction is so simple and yet so powerful. So have a go yourselves, write a function, get it to draw something simple or complicated, maybe a face, maybe a flower, maybe something else, and repeat it 500 times or 200 times or 100 times. Repeat it lots of times, whatever number you fancy, and see the effect. The only thing I'd say is if you are repeating code which does the same thing every time, you won't see anything interesting happen. So this code, every time it is run, is going to draw a button at a random place on the canvas. But if we said it's always going to be drawn at 400 and 300, So there's no randomness involved now. It will always draw those buttons at 400, 300 in the middle of the canvas. Well, let's see what happens. Yep, so what's happened there is it looks like there's just one button, but in fact it's 500 buttons all drawn at the same place, right on top of each other, exactly on top of each other. So there wasn't really any benefit to doing that. So that's just something worth kind of keeping in mind when you have a go yourselves. Fantastic. We're going to be using this idea lots in future. There's so many creative possibilities for that. I can't wait, actually. So yeah, have a go, and we'll see you next time. Bye.